This is incredible. Hello, my wonderful friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Nintendo News Roundup. This is the final Nintendo News Roundup before E3. Are you excited? I am excited. Let's get through the news. We're talking about news right now, not E3. This is future Arlo coming in, interjecting a story into the beginning of the roundup that I shot yesterday. In my E3 pre-show, I mentioned how there were rumors going around of a new Mario and Rabbids game, and I didn't mention it in the roundup yesterday because there were some new rumors that were a lot more solid, some pretty solid leaks coming out, and I didn't want to spoil it because Ubisoft's presentation literally a few hours away from right now, so I didn't want to say it in case it could still be a surprise for some people. And I woke up this morning and Nintendo themselves published, they leaked the game on their website accidentally. They gave the big title and screenshots and descriptions and everything just hours before Ubisoft's show. Why does this keep happening? I don't know. Really honestly don't know why or how people are just accidentally hitting publish. But there you go, that's a thing. I'm not gonna go too deep into just the concept of it, because, again, the Ubisoft presentation will be soon and all that, but just so I can put it in the roundup, hey, look at that, a new Mario and Rabbids game. It's apparently coming next year. So there you go, back to you, past Arlo, with the full direct, not the direct, it's early, I just woke up, I just rolled out of bed. The news roundup I recorded yesterday, go. Super Nintendo World has opened again. It opened, and then they had to close it. It's been a whole back and forth thing. Cases were up in Japan. They had to close it, state of emergency, but it seems they've gone back down. So now they've opened it up again. Once more, super limited capacity, only like weekdays. And I think just about everybody is kind of like, okay, is this gonna last? I don't know. Hopefully it will, but there you go, it's open again. So recently Nintendo rolled out a new, just like a basic stability update for the Switch firmware, and apparently something went wrong. They identified some issues and they halted the rollout of the update, and that is the first time they have ever had to do that. It seems that they found some potential issues with network connections and micro SD XC cards. And so they stopped the rollout, and then they, we assumed that they fixed it, and then they rolled it out again, which is good. But then the thing is, there are a lot of people that are reporting issues. Like, they seem to be having the issues that Nintendo originally thought they might have, and I guess Nintendo thought they fixed it, or they just wanted to get out the update anyway and fix it later. I'm not sure, but it seems that quite a few people are actually having some issues, so that's unfortunate. Hopefully Nintendo can fix that up pretty quick. It seems the Shin Megami Tensei V website, the Japanese website, has inadvertently revealed the release date of the game. It's one of those things where it could technically not be true, but like the website itself said it. This wasn't like, it's not a leaker or whatever. It seems to have gone up in error. So if you've been wondering, ahead of the E3 show, where presumably we would have gotten this information, November 11th is when Shin Megami Tensei V will be releasing, so that's pretty cool. Few bits of Pokemon news, as usual. Apparently, last year, the Pokemon Company sold 3.7 billion Pokemon cards. That's a lot of cards. That's a lot of cards. And I know, like, the Pokemon card craze, I don't know, and if that was last year, I feel like they're definitely going to have an even better year this year, because this is the year that it feels like the craze has really started up again. So who even knows? Maybe they'll crack 5 billion or something. That's nuts. So last year, Pokemon started up this whole Poketune thing, just like little animated shorts, for the YouTube channel. And they started with a really cool one that was like the old classic, classic cartoon style. Then pretty recent, like they went a long time without releasing a new one. Then pretty recently they did one, but it was a lot more simple in terms of the animation. But then right away, they've given us another new one, and it's actually like pretty long, and it's styled more, it's more in the style of the anime, but it's still got kind of its own sort of unique thing. Apparently it was done by Studio Clorido, who did the Twilight Wings series. And it's really nice looking. I love this idea, how just any number of different styles and people just doing little little like self-contained side stories in the Pokemon universe. I think it's a really cool idea. Japan just loves their life-size plushies, and the latest Pokemon one to hit Japan is a life-size Slowpoke. It is very, very large. It is very, very expensive. It's probably very, very hard to get if you do not live in Japan. But there you go, big ol' Slowpoke. They know how to pick the best ones, don't they? That'd be awesome. I love a big Slowpoke. Also in Japan, because Japan gets all of the cool stuff, especially all the cool Pokemon stuff, at McDonald's, they're releasing a line of Pikachu-themed food. You got like an ice cream and, you know, all sorts of new toys and everything, and like a fruit pie. It's really funny because I was originally like writing down my notes for this, and I was like, oh yeah, new Happy Meal stuff. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not just Happy Meal stuff, it's just on the menu, because the Pikachu doesn't have to just be for kids in the Happy Meal in Japan. They can just put it on the regular menu, because everybody likes Pikachu. That's cool. Mario Golf Super Rush is coming out pretty darn soon, and we have unfortunately received confirmation that some of its modes, split screen, will only be 2-player, and if you want to do 4-player, you gotta like play online, or I presume do like a system link or something. Did not originally think this was interesting enough to report on, but then I thought about it more, and I just realized this is actually really disappointing. The main draw of the game is the whole speed golf thing, where 4 people are running around acting all crazy and trying to play golf, and it means you can't do it with 1 copy of the game and 1 Switch and 4 players, you know? I mean, I imagine there's gonna be a lot of families who watch that commercial, watch that crazy gameplay, say that looks like a ton of silly fun, take it home and they can't even do it. You can only do 2-player. 4-player is only available for modes where you can like share the controller, you know, not like everybody acting at once. So yeah, that's pretty disappointing. And I really hope it's some sort of technical problem and not, you know, Nintendo wanting people to buy more copies of the game or whatever. Yeah, it's weird. Last week we talked about how many people in Europe were apparently able to purchase the Age of Calamity DLC for free, the expansion pass. It was just listed as free and they could just grab it. But unfortunately for them, Nintendo seems to have completely closed the exploit and informed everybody, no, sorry, you can't actually have it for free. So it was a close one. You guys, you almost had it, but oh well. So the game Super Smash Bros. Melee, you might have heard of it. It was at E3 2001, and Sakurai himself did stuff with the game at the show. And apparently a little bit after, he wrote up a little report about the experience, and this has been newly translated and brought to light. So here you can read all the different stuff that he said about it. Pretty interesting little tidbits on there. Apparently he was making changes to the game up to the day before the show, and like he talks about bringing the ROM himself from the airport to E3 and like giving it to them and like telling the staff about the game so that they could tell the attendees about the game. It's just funny, like he's like this big important guy now. Like you could not possibly imagine him doing that kind of like hands-on kind of grunt work, you know? But I don't know, it just shows how like things were different back then. Even just like game development in general was so much smaller and different. And then of course just Nintendo and Smash was just a lot smaller. It wasn't a massive thing back then. The Animal Crossing Build-A-Bear line has now expanded to include KK Slider. So there's another Build-A-Bear thing for you. All right, those will just keep coming, I guess. Nintendo has announced that at least in America and Europe, there will be a big fat Switch sale that will take place right after E3 on the 15th. So that's pretty cool. Apparently it'll be up to 50% off select games. So keep your eye out for that one. Not a ton of stories this week. We are already at the fan stuff. But if you normally say, oh, I don't want to just see people's silly fan stuff, there's actually some really meaty fan stuff I maybe shouldn't even have called it fan stuff. Whatever. Here we go. Look at this. This is incredible. So apparently one of the developers of Earthbound, you know, Mother 2, whatever you want to call it, had found an old floppy disk that originally had a bunch of just like the game's code, just stuff on it. Most of that stuff was deleted, but apparently the Video Game History Foundation got their hands on this and had spent a long time, apparently, somehow, I don't actually understand how, I don't know how any of this works, like recovering a ton of the data, recompiling it. I mean, it's deleted, but apparently you can get in there using forensic techniques and whatnot to recover some of the stuff. So I am not personally a big Mother fan. I've not played any of the games. I want to, I just haven't gotten around to it. I can imagine that to a fan, this is a really big deal because they've uncovered all sorts of stuff. Just content that was deleted and alternate localization things and little doodads and secrets all over the place. So if you're into Mother, Earthbound, whatever you call it, check this out. That's well, you probably already have. You probably already heard about it, but whatever, I'm reporting on it here because that is super interesting. And in another very similar story, you may recall last year that there was that big, giant Nintendo Giga leak where all sorts of source codes and stuff went out, you know, servers were hacked and all that stuff. And I still think it's interesting. Just the whole, I mean, like this whole concept of like data recovery and everything, it's amazing to me that it takes so much time. It's just, I don't know, it's an interesting process. To me, software is a thing that unless you're like coding it by hand, it's quick, but apparently like just digging through this data has taken people a long time, and we're still getting stuff from that leak, and it's super interesting. This person here has apparently, they've apparently restored the editor that the developers of Super Mario Kart on the Super NES used to edit their courses. And and it even goes deeper than that. Apparently, it's like a software or like a firmware thing that they would put directly onto an SNES to make it into like a little computer on its own, so that they could do editing right there on the SNES instead of having it all in the computer and going back and forth. Even that in itself is just really interesting. But yeah, they've used that to like bring up this whole little editor, and you can see the little video here of putting down the item blocks all over the place. It's just super interesting. It's a really awesome, interesting little, I know I'm not supposed to be happy about the leaks and all that, but like, come on, Nintendo doesn't share this stuff. We're so interested in the history of Nintendo, how their games were developed, and it's just a really awesome glimpse into that. This is history. This is video game history. YouTuber Devin Supertramp has created a live-action Metroid fan short film, which is pretty cool. It's you know, this reminds me of what was it, back in 2015? Someone did one, Metroid: The Sky Calls. Do you remember that one? That was really, really cool. And I'm just bringing this up just because I like talking about myself. But funny story. That was one of my earliest videos, and it was one of my first videos to get any kind of significant views. I remember I did a little review of Metroid: The Sky Calls, and it got like 10,000 views, and I was like, whoa, like that was incredible back then. Anyway, back to this one. It's pretty cool. I'm not as big of a fan of this one as I was of Sky Calls. That one was a little more serious. This has got kind of a sort of cheesy, like 80s kind of low-budget TV show kind of thing. I mean, like, for a fan project, though, it's obviously very cool. You know, you get the CG and stuff and some fun effects. It's pretty cool. It's fun. Check it out. She fights Ridley, so, like, that's pretty neato. George Perkins, the founder of Super Rare Games, has a grandma who's apparently been playing Wii Fit every day for over 10 years. I mean, that's great. Nobody keeps up with Wii Fit. They all give it up after a couple weeks. But no, apparently she's been going for 4,784 days. I'm impressed. I'm seriously impressed. Seriously. I'd probably look a little bit slimmer right now if I kept that up. This person here is recreating the town from Stardew Valley in Animal Crossing. It's cute. I am like almost sort of done. I keep telling myself I'm done with these little like Animal Crossing recreations, but then they just keep doing them from games that I love. They did Resident Evil 8, now they're doing it. Stardew Valley. I love Stardew Valley. It's great. That looks great. YouTube channel Shank Mods has made a handheld version of the Virtual Boy. This is another story that I initially almost passed over because I just like, there's so many like hardware mods and stuff out there, you know, you'd spend a lot of time reporting on them all. But then I dug deeper into this and it's too interesting to not talk about. This is a full, like, turning the Virtual Boy itself into a little handheld, big, long video on the process, super technical, all the little specifics of how he did it, and it's also very entertaining. It's well edited. Check it out. It's very, very fun. It's so cool. And finally, Breath of the Wild glitch, where the Guardian's legs, they go all stretchy. They go all stretchy and big. pretty funny. Anyway, that's it for this edition of the Nintendo News Roundup. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will hope that you will join me again after Nintendo's E3 show sometime next week or whatever. Generally the usual time. We're going to talk about that stuff. I will see you there. I love you. Have a good day. Goodbye.